All right, and we're back, and it's time. It's another week. And Debbie Cox DeNova is in the studio. And I know you've been seeing all these segments, and you're going, what is she going to come up with next? Well, it's another week, and we have another topic to talk about, and it's about personality. Where are we going with that one?
Optimizing your personality.
Oh,
We all
really?
have
Okay.
personality traits that we know about, right?
Multiple.
Yeah, multiple personality traits. And it's really important before we discuss this that we're talking about 5, maybe 6 of the universal personality traits that trait psychologists have come up with that are universal around the world. They're neither good nor bad. In fact, the conversation today is all about finding value and honoring your personality and also optimizing on that and understanding other people and their personality traits and then helping to optimize their personality traits as well around you.
That's very good because a lot of people always seem to be misunderstood.
Absolutely. We tend to think, well, you should be more like me, or I
Yeah,
understand things
right.
as I understand them. So the big 5 that the science of people have come up with create the acronym OCEAN. So at home, if you have a piece of paper and a pen, you want to play
I
along.
got one. I'm ready.
Right, for yourself and then maybe even for your partner might be fun, or somebody else that's important in your life. So we have these 5 personality traits, and there may be a 5th one or a 6th one that's coming up in the world of personality psychology that we'll talk about as well. So write the word OCEAN, the acronym OCEAN, down the page on the left-hand side of the paper. OCEAN stands for openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism.
Neuroticism.
Neuroticism. Okay. So these are 5 personality traits that are science backed. And we're going to talk about whether you are high openness, low openness, high conscientiousness, and what it means all the way through. So let's talk about openness first. Openness is your relationship to experiences. So people who are high open tend to like adventure. They're curious about life. They are lit up by the idea of checking things off their bucket list. They want new experiences. Their relationship to life is basically open, right? Whereas if you're low in openness, you like routines and rituals and traditions and spending time with old friends, and you don't like things to change, and you're a little bit more trepidatious when it comes to new ideas and new experiences. So I have some statements here for you, and if you agree with these statements, it means that you're high openness. If you disagree, it means you're low openness. You ready?
Yeah, before you do it, can you be somewhere in the middle?
You can be somewhere in the middle, and
right.
oftentimes that's a strong place to be because you can kind of pull from both sides. So this is a spectrum, if you will, and there are extremes on either side. So again, not good or bad, just to understand. Yes.
And if you're a spouse out there and you want to do it on your husband or your husband want to do it on your spouse, that ought to make for a good argument.
Absolutely. Okay, so the first statement is I love adventure. I am imaginative. I am the first to try new activities. If you agree with these statements, then you are high openness. If you disagree with these statements, you tend to be low openness. Okay. So again, very curious about the world. You want to try new things. You're comfortable exploring new ideas. High openness. Okay. So the next one is conscientiousness, and this is your approach to details. So high conscientious people, they like to plan. They like a task list. They like to check off. They tend to be very organized. They like details. Whereas someone who's low conscientious tends to be more big picture. They get overwhelmed by the tasks and the details. They like to think in terms of just, let's just see how it rolls, right? So someone who's high conscientious is the type of person who has every single part of the vacation planned out. They know hour by hour what they're going to do on vacation.
We're eating here. We're doing this.
Exactly.
We're fueling up here.
And if you're all the way on one end of the spectrum with conscientiousness, they could even be called OCD, right? Whereas if you're all the way on the other end of low conscientiousness, you could be called impulsive, right? So again, not good or bad, but these are just, so listen to these statements. And if you agree with these statements, then you're high conscientious. And then if you don't, then you're low.
Far away.
I have very high self-esteem. Self-discipline. I am very organized and always come prepared. I like to know the plan rather than be spontaneous. Are you high conscientious or low?
Am I?
Yeah.
I'm low.
Low. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So next one, extra.
I'll roll with it.
You roll. I roll with it
Now,
as well.
Joni's very conscientious.
Yes, and it's good for it's good for people
good
who have
balance.
low
Good
conscientiousness
balance.
to have someone in their life.
I
who's
roll.
high
I'm a promoter.
conscientious.
I go.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'm the
okay.
same way.
All right.
Okay. So extroversion. This is how you orient toward people. This is probably the one that people are most familiar with. Extroversion. People who are high extroversion, they get charged and lit up about being around other people. Talking to a group of people actually energizes them, and they like external stimuli that makes them feel good. Whereas if you are low extroversion, which we call introverted, right, you tend to be recharged by yourself. You like quiet time alone. You like to eliminate as much external stimuli as possible because it overwhelms you. Okay, so listen to these statements.
Okay.
I am the life of the party. I don't mind being the center of attention. I am usually the one to start a conversation. And so, again, all of this comes from the Science of People. There's a more detailed test. So after we're finished with this test, if you want to go and get a little more detail, if you're not quite sure on some of these, then you can go to scienceofpeople.com/personality and take a full-blown test.
Openness, I said all yeses.
High
But-
openness.
I can argue that sometimes. I say all no's.
Yeah.
Conscientiousness, same thing.
Yeah.
Extrovert. I can be an introvert too.
Yes, like an ambivert, right?
I'm like in the middle of all of them. Can some people be in the middle everywhere?
Absolutely, you
Okay.
can. Again, it's a spectrum. So,
Yeah.
and when you are in the middle, it's good because you can typically pull from both sides and be more well-rounded in your experience. So you can be all the way on one end of the spectrum, you can be all the way on either side, or you can be somewhere in the middle. But it's kind of good to know which way you lean so that you can optimize in your experience for
Right.
what actually feels good to
Just
you.
depends on what's happening.
Exactly.
Sometimes I want to sit and watch people sing.
Yeah.
Sometimes I want to sing.
Exactly.
So
Yes.
that's how it works. Okay.
Perfect. And it's
All
good
right.
to know the people around you as well. So
So we were talking about
openness, conscientiousness,
an extrovert.
extroversion, and then the next one is agreeableness.
All right.
So this is how are you? How empathetic are you? How friendly are you? Do the people who are high in agreeableness tend to be more patient with people? They tend to be more empathetic. They tend to make sacrifices for to keep the peace more often. Whereas someone who's low in agreeableness is less likely to do that. They're less likely to think about other people or to make sacrifices on their end for other people. Okay. So these are the statements.
All right.
Okay. Again, if you agree, then you are high agreeableness. If you disagree, low
Sure.
agreeableness.
Okay.
I tend to trust people and give them the benefit of the doubt. I am extremely empathetic. I like to make other people feel at ease. Okay. So this is important, especially for your family members to know, like the agreeable people would be the ones who are planning the bachelorette party, according to Vanessa Van Edwards. They're the welcome brigade for people who are coming into the community or the family members. And those who are low in agreeableness might want to be hanging out in the kitchen whenever
Right.
it comes to welcome
But it
people.
depends on what group you're with.
Exactly.
If some groups, if you trust them and they have your best interests at heart all the time, you're going to be a certain way.
Yeah.
If you're on guard with other groups, you're going to go,
What's your tendency outside for strangers, outside of your community?
okay, give me the questions one more time. That's the ones I didn't write down.
I tend to trust people and give them the benefit of the doubt.
Okay,
We're talking about people that you don't know.
yeah,
I am extremely empathetic. I like to make other people feel at ease.
okay.
How about now?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so you're more high in agreeableness.
Okay.
Okay. And then the last one is neuroticism. And the word neuroticism has a bad rap. So again, I want to remind you that if you're high neurotic, it doesn't necessarily mean bad. It just means that you have to
That
understand
means you're
yourself.
wired up.
Right. So in high neurotics, this is your relationship to stress. Okay, so we all have our stressful situations. High neurotics tend to have a harder time coming down off of stressful situations. And whereas low neurotics, we go through stress as well, and I am a low neurotic, okay, but we tend to sort of regulate faster, where high neurotics have a more tendency for anxiety and depression and just explosive anger. Low neurotics don't. And there's actually there's an actual chemical difference. So with someone who is high neurotic, for example, if you have a high neurotic and a low neurotic in a car together,
Right.
someone almost hits them, car accident almost happens, right? In both people, there's a spike of cortisol and adrenaline, like, oh my gosh,
Right.
almost died, right? In the low neurotic, directly afterward, there's a flood of serotonin that happens, and that helps you calm down and be at ease, like all is well. It's like,
Right.
whew, we almost, right?
That was close.
That was close.
Yeah.
In the high neurotic, though, there is less serotonin and it is transported more slowly. And so they are in a heightened state for a longer period of time. This is an actual chemical difference between the two. So, high neurotic, I stress out easily. I tend to be moody. I am a worrier. So if you agree with those, then you're high neurotic. And if you, and so this is really important, especially with your partner.
Well, that's a hard one because it depends on. I have no road rage,
Yeah.
but I know some people that have it bad.
But when you do get into a stressful situation, is it easier for you to come off of it or no?
Depends on what triggers it.
Okay.
So
somewhere
flip
in the
a
middle.
quarter.
Again.
Yeah, flip a quarter.
Okay,
Yeah.
somewhere in the
Okay,
middle. All
okay.
right. So this is really important for you to understand, especially with your partner as a high neurotic. What triggers you and what are your counter triggers?
Yeah.
What's your rock? What brings you down again? Is it meditation? Is it yoga? Is it affirmations? Is it a specific person, right? So that you and your partner can understand how to bring you back to center.
It's working out with Debbie and the Bobcat.
Of course, naturally. Okay.
When I'm in the Bobcat, peace.
Yes, beautiful, beautiful. So it's just good to know that about yourself, especially if you are a high neurotic, and have your partner understand that as well. And then lastly, in personality psychology, there's one that's been cropping up a lot, and it's honesty and humility, okay? And so when you have someone who is high honesty and high humility, they tend to play by the rules and they like to tell the truth. And this is the opposite end of what they call the dark triad. So people who are more in the dark triad that tend to be more prone to being narcissist, psychopaths, and Machiavellian leaders. Okay. Whereas someone who is high honesty and humility tend to be more, they play by the rules, they tell the truth.
I do very good with people that just tell me what went wrong.
Yeah. So honesty.
Lay it on the line, get it out.
Yeah.
You know,
Beautiful.
don't make me work for it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to add that one if you want to go a little bit deeper with this, you can go to hexaco.org, and the psychologist or Leanne Ashton, you can take a more in-depth quiz to find out exactly where your personality lies and your friends and family as well.
This is good stuff, Debbie. All right. So if you feel this out at home, come tell me, in the restaurant or whatever, how your husband did. And if your husband, tell me how your wife did. I can't wait to hear how the argument turned out. Just kidding. All right, we'll take a break. See you next week. Bye.